Hello and welcome to the 906, a podcast produced by Meha Chiraya and Archita Fritz. On this special episode, I'm your host, Archita Fritz, and I give thanks to three very special women in my life who have impacted and enriched my life in many different ways. You will hear from my mum, Vijaya Sivakumar, or Amma to me, my aunt, Shobha Subhash, or Shobha Aunty, and my mother-in-law, Pamela Fritz, or Mutter to me. Stay with us as we talk through courage, resilience, and sacrifice.
Talking about putting kids before career, I would rather say it was not a sacrifice but a choice that I made.
That was my mum, Vijaya Sivakumar. She is a retired financial professional who served her company, a large fertilizer manufacturer of India, at the top of the corporate ladder for 40 years. Until her time of retirement in 2017, my mum was the only woman among 70, that's 70 men, in the finance and accounting team at her company in the south of India. When my sister and I were little kids, I vividly remember every quarter and year end and month account closes. My dad traveled 5 days a week, so my mom would bring my sister and me to her office, and while we were running up and down the floors pretending to do homework, she was the ultimate hero or power woman for us. Out of her office with the dot matrix printer going, she owned, delegated, and managed the close like a boss. So, as I was recording this episode with my mom, I realized upon reflection that to this day, it has never really bothered me or doesn't quite bother me when I enter a room and I'm the only woman, whether it was my first computer engineering class in university or even a leadership team meeting today. Because watching my mom all those years, it was just normal to step up and lean in, irrespective of who was at the table.
Yes, if anybody looks at the scenario that I was in, they would have surely felt that it would have been a very Herculean task to be in the midst of 70 men, a lone woman. I never felt so because for me it was not getting only the work done. I always realized that they too had dreams for their children, but many of them did not know where to look upon or what opportunities they can grab for their children or how they can raise them. So that is when I pitched in my little knowledge and I shared it with them and what best they can do for their children and who are ultimately going to be their future. So that really gave them that type of confidence. Come, here is a lady who is not here to only mean her business, but she is also here to support us, to guide us, and to see that our family grows and our children have a brighter future. So they really were very helpful, supportive, and encouraging and inspiring. Instead, I would say that they were more inspiring to me and they were very helpful in whatever way they could. So I never felt that this thing. So, my piece of advice to you would be that you have to, it is a give and take matter. You cannot be only expecting or extracting job from your colleagues, but you also need to share for both of you to grow.
Share in order to grow. Such a refreshing take on looking and embracing differences in the workplace and in our lives. I'm going to step back into the workforce in a week, and these past 3 months, while on maternity leave, as I went up and down the hill of joy, frustration, anxiety, happiness, accomplishment, and fear, I started wondering, was it a myth that one can have a family, two successful careers, and be there for their family and friends? My mom and dad had made it look so easy growing up. But I know now, as a parent, you make sacrifices. And I was curious to uncover what sacrifices my mom had to make when she had to put her kids before her career.
Talking about putting kids before career, I would rather say it was not a sacrifice but a choice that I made. So, what sort of a choice and why that choice? There was my own example or my own growing up years. My father always had to move. His job moved him once in every 4 years, and we had to move from places to places. In my organization too, when it came to promotions, it meant every promotion meant moving to another state. And that is when we made the decision, or we took a decision, that your dad keeps moving and I stay back, because I had gone through all the trauma of being moved once in 4 years. I didn't want my young daughters to go through that. And so for me, foregoing a promotion was not a sacrifice but a choice. And I think it was a sensible choice. And I'm happy. I have no
Mhm.
regrets as such.
My mom found satisfaction and fulfillment in her career beyond just a change in a title or a business card. She wasn't chasing that next promotion. Instead, she was building her life focused on fulfilling her commitments to the choices she had made.
For me, job satisfaction didn't mean only a promotion would give me the job satisfaction. Growing up in a career didn't really mean promotion, but I kept upgrading myself through self reading, self or attending training courses provided by various institutes, and attending to various women related conferences. And that was really interesting and enriching, and that gave me equal satisfaction. So that was really enriching for me rather than a promotion.
Her perspective on choice versus sacrifice, that has given me a lot of pause for thought and has changed my view completely just while we were having this interview. When she used the word choice, she took the power into her hands for a given circumstance versus letting the circumstance having sway over how she had to handle it. And there were times where she made different choices and had to pick her career before her kids.
There was a time when when the vigilance department of our company said personnel from finance department have to be moved out every 4 years, and I had already put in 8 years in that particular place, and there was no other choice but I had to move. But on my request, they said at least for 6 months you have to move out. So the only question that came uppermost in my mind was, what about the kids? So I was not the one to give up so easily on life. So I made this decision, or looked out for all out support. And I was lucky enough to have my parents around and my other cousins who came in and pitched in their bit to support me, and which gave me that type of confidence to leave my children. It was for 6 months that I was away from them.
My mom never shied away from asking for help and always did and has done the same for others. The myth that one can have a career, kids, raise them to be good human beings, all while maintaining a healthy family and social life, she just busted that for me. It is possible if you commit to the choices you make. You lean into every opportunity given and you don't hesitate to ask for help. So, what does my mom, Amma, love the most about herself?
My multitasking capacity. I could manage a job, I could pay attention to my aged parents, and bring up my two lovely daughters.
Next up, we have my aunt. My aunt, Shobha Subhash, has been a part of the village my mom alluded to earlier. Both my mom's sisters and her cousins and her parents stepped in numerous times to help my mom and dad as they fulfilled their commitments to their choices. Shobha Aunty, who I interview here today, holds a very special place in my heart for many reasons. She and my uncle, her husband Subhash, were my first constant connection and place of security in the US when I moved from Bangalore, India as a 17-year-old. I grew up as a young adult at 506 Springhouse Lane, eating her delicious home cooked meals and her letting me sleep in, not making my bed, and planning adventures exploring the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. But nostalgia aside, as I spent a considerable amount of my time in my career and saw her find her way and voice and self after raising her two kids and stepping into the workforce for the first time, after already having earned her master's degree in environmental engineering some 11 years ago.
One of the things that encouraged me or gave me the confidence going back to school was when I had back in Michigan, when I had pursued my master's in environmental engineering and changed my field. I actually did very well in the program. So I knew that I had it in me to pick a different field and I knew I would do well.
Having to go back to university didn't deter her. Instead, she drew strength from what she knew she was great at, which was academics. And she used that confidence to see herself through grad school for the second time around.
And then I started off with taking two classes. I didn't go full time because I was applying to and had to get accepted into the program. And I actually aced the classes, the two classes that I did really well. Then I also had the opportunity to talk to one of the faculty, and she was actually kind enough to, she spent like 2 hours talking to me about the program. I just wanted to get a feel for how receptive they were to somebody of my background because I was looking into environmental health as being my focus in the public health department. So yes, I did go full time, but the kids were there. But I had like a very very supportive family, my husband and kids. I had become nocturnalist. Yeah, I finished it in 2 years. With this, I felt like I could make a difference in the practical world.
She really embraced this new journey. But if we were to take a few steps back, she had to pass an 8-hour exam on her path back to grad school. The exam is called the Fundamentals of Engineering, which you usually take after you've just graduated from college with an undergraduate degree. It's an 8-hour exam where they test you on every aspect of engineering. And her absolute focus and confidence truly inspired me as she tackled returning after more than a decade back into the workforce.
Forgot about the FE exam. So now just going back to that, when I first moved to Florida, I before I even considered public health, I was thinking of going back into environmental engineering, and I thought the FE would be a good way to brush my knowledge. It's an 8-hour long exam and it covers literally all fields of engineering. It just seemed very daunting at that point. And then I did take the FE. I could not take it in the state of Florida, but I was able to take it in Michigan. So first of all, it's really expensive to take the FE. If I remember, it was about $300. And then I was flying to Detroit. There was all this pressure, but my husband had said, no, whatever happens, it's just do it. It's okay if you pass, if you're not, but at least you would be richer in your knowledge. And so it was nice to have that and helpful. I did go to Detroit, take the exam. It was an 8-hour long exam. And then when the results came out, I was in India and my husband said, I had told me I had passed. And I was like, can you just double check to make sure it was my name on the results. So that kind of was another thing that gave me the confidence to go back to school. And then once I completed the FE, I was not sure if I still wanted to go work in a company. Yeah. And I was, why not? Since I passed the FE after having had this long gap, I was like, why not consider going to grad school? And so that gave me the confidence. And I always had the confidence that I'm never scared to try anything new. I had the confidence in me as far as the academics.
So, fast forward to graduation with a master's in public health. She still had to find her footing in the corporate
So
world.
while I was still in the program, almost finishing up, there was an email that went around where they were looking for interns at the VA. Yeah, the Department of Veterans Affairs, their Office of Public Health, which in Washington, D.C., they had a center here in Gainesville and they were looking for interns. So I applied to that intern position. Unfortunately, I did not get the intern position. But a few months later, there was another email that went out from our coordinator for the department who organizes interns or helps people with the job. She sent out an email which was a posting for a job with the VA. It was this with the same group, but this time it was a full-time position. So I applied to it, and actually this group, they were looking for somebody with exactly my background and did not expect someone who is an engineer and has a training in public health. They never thought they would find somebody. So they just sent me an email that we would like to talk to you. They didn't tell me it was a formal interview, so I didn't know what to expect. So just in case, let me prepare for this. So I prepared and I go there the next day, and it turned out to be a formal interview. Yeah, so it just worked out. Kind of fell in my lap, I would say.
The universe has a funny way of bringing opportunities to us. And my aunt stayed along the path of belief in herself, even though she was passed on for the original opportunity. She enjoyed 6 fulfilling years at the VA when a very interesting turn of events put her back into the unemployed
Yeah, so I
workforce.
worked there for 6 years. It was amazing. I really, really enjoyed the work. And unfortunately, our center had closed after 9 years of funding. So I had to look for other opportunities. Thankfully, we are in a university town. And I was working in healthcare policy, infection control, as well as healthcare policy. So I landed a job with a group at the university in the health outcomes and policy department. To a certain extent, I would say I had to start ground up because this next job that I took was the one that closely fit my background and training. It was very, very different from what I had done in the VA.
And there she was again, finding another opportunity that stretched her further. I was curious to understand how she stayed motivated and focused through all these stops and starts, and what her advice would be to somebody entering the workforce or re entering it.
So I'm always excited to learn new things. I look for new opportunities where I can grow my knowledge base. Yeah, my advice to anybody starting to get back into the workforce would be pick a field that you're passionate about. Doesn't matter if it is something you've never tried before. The key thing is you are maybe at a different level of maturity right now. So you might as well do something that you really are excited about and passionate about. No matter what the hurdles are, you will be able to handle it and excel in whatever you decide.
Last but not least, my mother in law, Pamela Fritz, who I call Mutter. Our paths crossed one summer 15 years ago when I found myself bruised, confused, and scared after a near fatal car accident I was involved in. I didn't know at that time that this blonde angel would someday be such a big part of my life and my family. All I knew was that she made me laugh and find my fun through that really scary time. Through the years, her story of resilience, where an idea she had 28 years ago to serve her community while finding a sustainable way to give old toys a new life, led her to becoming the founder, the owner of a Grand Haven, Michigan staple, Toys Are Used. Her story is one where she looked to solve a problem for herself that she knew needed some of her magic in her community.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Cream. If you are a corporate girly and you are struggling, you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling underpaid, overqualified, you're struggling with your boss, or bigger yet, you're even trying to clearly articulate what it is that you want from your corporate career, I am the coach for you. So if you're ambitious and you've got goals to accomplish and you want to accomplish them quickly, check out my website, oliviacream.com. I would love to help you reach your goals.
Hi, everybody. I'm Archita Fritz, your other host of the Embracing Only podcast. If you're ready to leave corporate or you've changed a couple of corporate jobs and want to start a profitable side brilliance, you've made the decision, but you feel unsure of the next steps, here's how I can help you. I can guide you through a successful transition to entrepreneurship to help turn those ideas into profit. So reach out to me on LinkedIn or visit me on architafritz.com to accelerate your empowered transitions. Now, back to the episode.
I was a young mother. My daughter was a year and a half old when I started. My motivation? I started this Toys Are Used business shortly after she was born. And then I was motivated because my son, he was 5 years old at the time. I had all this clothing that I did not want my daughter to be wearing. So I took it all down to a consignment store. And along with that, I brought 2 unopened toys, thinking that they could sell those as well. And when I brought them, they accepted my clothing, but they did not accept the toys. So I got back into my car and I'm thinking, this town needs something like that. And my brain went into overdrive to try to get me to open up a store like that. And I had to figure it all from scratch. When I had that aha moment, the idea, I presented it to my husband. And then I asked my mom and dad for support, my brothers but most of all, I asked my children. And they were behind me 100%. Yes, my son was around 6 years old and my daughter a year and a half. My son was the one who was excited about it. And my daughter, no, she just was a year and a half. But they got on board. They were there, ready. She came to work with me. I created a spot for her. After I got the support from my family, then it just, everything fell into place. I had family, brothers and sisters who had toys that they didn't want anymore, so they donated that to me. And then I had my friends. My friends, they helped me supply shelving. There's a lot of shelving I needed. And that one of my friends, that's what he did for a living, was make shelving. So that's where I got all my shelving. And so I started this business with $200, $200, and $50 of it went for a cash register, and the rest was for advertisement. And that was it. That I had a building that was empty for 7 years, so I asked if I could use that rent free, but everything just fell right into place. So I just knew this. This is what I was supposed to do with my life.
Her life. She found her life's purpose, and that is what has been truly inspirational to me. She lives her life's purpose every day, and the magic and love she brings to her blue and yellow brick and mortar toy store is truly special.
I think it's service. I think it's my personality. I think people, they like coming in. They like the fact that they can play with these toys and then get them at a very low price. Sometimes I can't beat a garage sale. Sometimes I can't beat the internet on eBay. But I'm a hands-on eBay. That's what I am. And people come from, just last week, I had people come from Fort Wayne, Indiana, because we're passing through and they stopped in. I was just blown away. But I think, and most of all, what I think is my passion for this business. Because I think people like that. Some people come in just to get cheered up, It's the toys, and because they can get something, the toys that they're looking for that they can't get anymore. Teachers, so they, oh, call that place. I know she'll have it. When you walk in my doors, it hits you with the reminiscent of all the old toys. It's nostalgia. It's just a unique store from ceiling to floor toys.
You can really hear the joy in her voice. She was well ahead of her time 28 years ago, finding a second life for used toys. And she had to find her footing and get the word out. She did something we sometimes hesitate to do a lot of, which is simply ask. And ask she did, and just look at where and how she has grown.
Back 28 years ago, I was off the beaten path. And people didn't know I was there, so I had to do a lot of door-to-door, handing out flyers, and advertising was very expensive. So I put on all the stores downtown. A lot of it was word of mouth. And then I hit the newspapers and asked them if they would do an article on me. And I couldn't ask for anything better as for advertisement, is getting an article done. And then I've been in a couple of magazines, and just by contacting them, just saying, hey, this is what I have, providing a great service for this community. That my store grew as my children grew, and then came the internet. I've grown. Opening up to the internet, that was a challenge for my personal, if any challenge. That was my one and only challenge. It was I held off. I said no. And then a woman came into my life. Her name is Anita. And she's the one who, she made me come around to it. Because otherwise, I probably would not be on the internet if it wasn't for that woman.
She's faced challenges, the biggest one being finding a way to speak and engage her customers in the digital stratosphere, away from her store. But she embraced the change, and her advice to young men and women looking to turn their idea into a reality, serving their community, is centered on passion.
My advice for other women out there looking to become an entrepreneur, I truly believe you have to have a passion in what you are about to pursue. No matter what business that you're looking to open, you got to have a passion for it. And that's what I have. And I think that's what people keep coming back, because they just know I have this passion for all the toys that come in. Well, in the 28 years that I have been in business, I've had a lot of ups and downs, but it's my passion that's gotten me through all of the downs. I'm still having fun doing what I'm doing. I still love going to work. I love seeing a child light up when they find that special toy, knowing that my store is providing a really cool service for this community.
Her definition of success is outward focused and truly motivational.
I define this success knowing that I'm providing for this community a service, and they keep coming back, and I get to witness my success every day and the children that come in. So when a child comes in, they found that one toy that they've been looking for. That, to me, I'm there. That's the success.
She is one of the most happiest people I know. And when I or my kids are looking to find our fun, she's just a call, a video chat, a text, or a visit away.
I love that I'm a happy person. I love that I'm a giving person. I love that I love my family. I would do anything with my family. And I want to spread that love and that happiness to everyone.
This episode was a personal journey of self-reflection and celebration, giving thanks to 3 very special women in my life. Thank you for listening.
To learn more about our podcast, check us out at the906.com. The 906 is produced by Meha Chiraya and Archita Fritz. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform to tune in and hear the stories that'll elevate and inspire you.